What's up, Raptor Space? We're back. Hip Hoop Junkies, Hoop Heads North. I made the trip back from Toronto. I'm back in Halifax. I've got my crew.
That's right.
Who do we got? Yui Sampang.
Yui Sampang here.
Jean-Francois.
Romy Kino. And a new guy.
Member of the family, Ryan Dickinson. What's up, Ryan?
Guys?
Happy to be here. Talk some Raptors.
Yeah, man. Nice to appreciate having me, man. Want to get involved and talk as much ball as we can.
Definitely, definitely. And he's representing Movember. As you can see, it's nice and thick right now.
A little greasy, but it's there.
It's
I'm doing
all
my
good.
part.
That's it, man.
Alright, let's talk some hoops.
Okay, let's do it.
Talking hoops. What happened this past week, Sean?
Okay, let's see. We had a 3-game winning streak. Imagine that.
Yeah.
You said
Right?
winning streak?
I did. I know. We're not used to that this
Who would have
season.
thought, right?
Unbelievable. So, starts off last week. You have that game against Philadelphia to kind of get it going. As you said, always sunny in Philadelphia.
Always sunny, yeah.
Awesome. And then it was back home, right?
Right.
And, Friday night you were there.
I was.
Houston Rockets. What do you think?
Big game. I mean, I was thinking this home stretch, I was scared with Houston and Boston. They were going to get blown out, but they surprised me. Like, what did you guys think? What did you think of the Houston game?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, sorry there, just cut you off for a quick second, but with the Houston game, I mean, you compare it to the Washington game where they couldn't capitalize on John Wall's absence, and those are games that you got to have. So going into Philly with no, Houston at home with no Aaron Brooks, their starting point guard, and no Yao Ming. They still have a nice squad with Kevin Martin and Luis Scola, but with those two players out of the lineup, you got to capitalize on those games, and they did what they needed to do.
Absolutely. What do you think, bro?
And the record was just as bad as the Raps, so you've really become a cynic, man. What happened? This guy was predicting like 50 wins last year.
I mean, after that Washington game, the game I thought they would have won, and they got run off the floor.
Well, true.
I had my doubts, but I had good seats. Great game to watch.
Absolutely.
And then comes Sunday against Boston,
Yeah.
the Eastern Powerhouse, Shaq, KG, Paul Pierce, Jesus Shuttlesworth,
That's right.
Yeah.
Little Nate Robinson.
Little Nate Robinson.
But of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't actually say that the Celtics were Rajon Rondo-less.
Yeah.
He wasn't there.
No.
But still, what was the final outcome? That's all that matters.
A
right?
dub's a dub. Yeah, ugly win. It doesn't matter. You get a W in the win column.
Yeah.
And those, again, like just the Houston game, right? Those are the games that you needed to
Right.
capitalize on, and they did it. So, tip your hat to the Raptors and give them credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Still a tough team without Rondo in the lineup. Nate Robinson came out
Nate Robinson
firing,
lit it up,
16 first quarter points. They suffocated him in the second quarter and so forth in the second half. They locked down on D. But 3 big wins in a row for the Raptors, and see if they can keep it rolling here.
This week we got a little revenge week action happening with Philly trying to get back for the loss, and
That's right.
Boston,
Yeah.
who may have Rondo back. Are they going to have him back?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's probably
Still
looking
day
like
to day right now with that hamstring, so we'll see how he heals
Yeah.
by that time. But,
Yeah, take your time, Mr. Rondo, if you're watching this.
So in between that Houston game and that Boston game, a big surprise, I got it on your Facebook.
Yeah.
The big trade that happened on the weekend.
Right.
unbelievable. Now, I'll tell you this straight up, Raptors Nation. When I first heard about the trade, I was not impressed. I was like, really? Like, we're bringing in a kind of guy whose skill set and Peja Stojakovic is kind of over that hill,
Right.
and then you're bringing in a point guard who hasn't really been proven,
Right.
you know, and we're giving away a guy who has already shown what he can do for us. So from that perspective, just straight on talent, I was not impressed. But then thinking about, okay, what is this going to set the Raptors up for as far as, you know, financial flexibility?
Right,
Obviously the CBA and potential lockout, how does that all play into giving the Raptors that financial flexibility? I don't know that Colangelo could have pulled off anything better.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about it all?
I mean, what can you say? Like, Bayless, he's going to be good to fill in for that point guard spot. And then Peja, I mean, he's going to fit in from the corner shooting the three. What did you guys think?
Well, I'll touch on a little bit what you just mentioned there a couple minutes ago, and Bayless, who has yet to prove himself, but a lot of the Toronto Raptors are players who have yet to really prove themselves.
True.
And a lot of them are playing with the chip on their shoulder, and they have a lot to prove. Right up to Jay Triano, the head coach, who's got a lot to prove. They got a lot of pride, and they're going forward with this youth movement and revolution,
Exactly.
and this young athletic squad. And Bayless fits right in with the team. He's an up tempo. He pushes the pace, and he's proven that he can score. We haven't seen much from him this year in New Orleans because he's played behind arguably the league's best point guard in Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot to prove. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's 5 years younger than Jarrett Jack.
Yeah.
And I think even though Jarrett Jack has proven himself in this league defensively and as a leader, he's yet to make the playoffs as a starting point guard. And there was a lot of conflict between he and Jose, who was the starter. They tried to ship Jose in the offseason, couldn't get the deal done with Charlotte. But I think they brought in a key piece to this young core that they're trying to develop, and I think they want to build on this chemistry. Is he the point guard of the future? Maybe not.
Yeah.
He's more of a combo guard, right? So he kind of fits in with the Barbosas. But he's gonna look to push the pace, be aggressive. He's got a lot to prove.
Yeah.
And Peja, as you mentioned, with that cap space, at the end of the year's contract expiring, that just adds on to the trade exception that they have with Bosch.
Exactly.
So it's all long term, and I mean, whatever he can give us and provide to us is just icing on
Yeah,
the
if they
cake.
could get 2 key guys.
Well, and they only had to spend 2 of the $14 million that was left from Bosch on Jared Bale, so they had 12 left from that, and then his 14 or 15 roughly $1 million, and they also have expiring contracts with Reggie Evans and other players on the team. So they have $25 million plus to spend in the offseason, however they choose to do it, plus the 2 first-round draft picks. So they're only getting younger, and they're building for the future. So I think it's a positive move all in all.
Yeah.
But Jarrett Jack, I'm gonna miss you.
He looked pretty good last night in New Orleans, though. First game,
Yeah.
played like 16 minutes, and he was solid.
No more end starting from
Georgia Tech.
No more of that.
No, not
But
at all.
the New Orleans Hornets are kind of like your former Raptors. We got Pos Mensah-Bonsu on the roster.
Yeah.
Former Raptor, Jarrett Jack,
Marco
David,
Bellinelli.
Marco Bellinelli,
David
David Anderson, and Marcus Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it
Too
doesn't
bad
work,
Chris Paul never played with the Raptors.
Exactly. You never know what could happen, I suppose, but it's probably out of there. Now, with that, I want to just talk on one quick thing before we move on to the next topic. With regards to, all the cap space the Raptors will have at the end of the offseason, do you think that it's something about the Raptors, perception to the rest of the league why we're, as an organization, the Raptors aren't able to bring in a marquee name and keep him here for a long period of time? Obviously, we've had the star players that we all know about, the Vinces, the T-Max, the Chris Bosches, who've all left and gone on to other places. Do you think that is going to be a hindrance in the offseason of being able to bring in another big name or not?
I don't think you need to necessarily bring in the big free agents, the big names. If you look what Oklahoma City Thunder have done, they've built up through the draft. You've got Kevin Durant, you've got Jeff Green, they've got Serge Ibaka now. They have some young pieces, James Anderson.
Right.
And so they've built through the draft on that young talent.
Right, but so did we, and they all left.
Yeah, but it's not just about drafting the talent. You've got to take the personality, you've got to take it all into consideration.
Yeah.
We don't want any more, not to knock on Rafa, but not the kind of draft pick we wanted. I think every Raptor fan knows that. But if you can bring in the right personality, I mean, Oklahoma City is not an ideal destination for a lot of NBA superstars.
Right.
But you find yourself with a young, humble kid in Kevin Durant who has made it clear that he wants to remain, in Oklahoma City for the rest of his career. And they've brought in some nice additions through the draft, and they've built young, and they've got this nice young athletic core who pushed the Lakers to a 6-game playoff series last year. So it's not possible. We don't need the big names like the Turkoglu's and the free agents to come over. We just do it the right way. And I think Colangelo, I think he knows what he's doing.
I just think as Rap fans, we get scared.
Oh,
We get scared. We're scorn lovers. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to see that guy build up and then just take off. So.
I mean, Toronto's a fantastic city. It has everything anyone would ever want. It's unfortunate when you just keep seeing that happen over and over and over again.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you think about it, it's if you're a non-big market team, you're gonna have to struggle to this unless you get like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Like say Detroit is considered small market now. No one wants to go to Detroit. It's like with the way the U.S. economy is going and everything. But Joe Dumars in that 2004 season was able to put all the right pieces together. And Oklahoma City was able to, draft solid players every single year. So it's just a matter of, getting a bunch of right moves all one after the other, and then winning cures everything. People want to stay if you
that's a good
create
point.
a winning
Just touching on the
atmosphere.
Pistons, though, I mean, they brought in a couple big free agents last year in the offseason, and Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva for big contracts, and we see how that panned out. Not so well for the Pistons.
It hasn't panned yet, though.
Yeah, no,
He's
no,
got years.
it's
Charlie V's
exactly.
playing well.
Yeah, and individually they're putting on a better performance this year. But
Yeah.
how a team gels together, it's not necessarily about the big names and the big contracts. It's just, I mean, Sonny Weems is a player that most believe should be in the D League, but he knows that his opportunity is in Toronto because no one wants to like. Well,
No one
I shouldn't
gave him a
say no.
chance. No one gave him a
Right,
chance.
right.
Yeah.
And Bosch wanted out of Dodge, and Vince Carter wanted out of Dodge. Here's a guy who sees his opportunity and says, hey, look, I can be the face of this team. I can be the star of the team.
Why
And he's
not?
putting up 20-point games,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of who wants to be there, who wants to put forth the effort. And I think they have a couple of pieces in DeRozan and now Bayless and Weems and Amir Johnson. I think they have pieces. They're more involved with the community.
Yes,
They're
definitely.
getting their faces out there, and they want to be, these players who say, hey, look, Toronto's a great place. We love playing here.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
Right on.
And as much as we knock on him, Bargnani in his last 3 games, 3 wins, he's like high 20s in points per game.
Yeah.
Asking for the ball at the end of close games.
Huge.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
What he had done a lot this season, we all saw this, he'd have strong first halves
Yeah.
and then kind of disappear in the second half.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case against Boston. Ended up at 29 for the game, started off the first half with 18 points and was pretty key, you know what I mean, in the second half as well.
Wasn't afraid to take it against KG.
No, that's right, you saw it firsthand again.
Exactly.
Just a different perspective there, definitely.
Great atmosphere at that game. So next thing, let's talk about. Shout out to Ed Davis.
Yes.
He's gone down to the D League.
He's on the mend.
Yeah, gonna play for the Erie Bayhawks.
Yeah.
It's only gonna be a good thing for him to get back out there, get used to playing, get ready to step in the league, and maybe he'll surprise us.
I'm hoping so. I mean, obviously right now with, Anderson, gone on to New Orleans,
Yep.
this opens up some minutes when he's fresh and ready to come back. Obviously, Salomon Alabi is down in Erie as well, doing his thing, had a great first game as we discussed earlier. But I'm very interested to see because they drafted him knowing that Bosch was leaving,
Yep.
similar size, also lefty.
Left-handed player.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All of that. So how will that factor in when he comes in, is ready to play, dividing up minutes and everything like that? That's the thing I think that I'm more concerned or nervous about as a Raptors fan. How are they going to find minutes for all these guys? We're talking about a pretty talented squad across the
right.
board. How do you find quality minutes for all these guys to be able to go in there and produce, and not just to get minutes, to actually do something when you're out there?
It's actually a good problem to have, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice to know that you have the depth on the bench to be say, hey, look, if this guy's not getting the shots, get in there and see what you can do. I mean, you got to ride the hot hand, and whoever's producing, you ride that guy. And I think the Raptors, they're not necessarily playing for the future. They want to be competitive this season, and they want to win as many games as possible.
Right.
As every team should.
Well, because there's
always
the upper
happening.
half of the Eastern Conference, your 4 or 5 teams, your Chicago, your Miami, Orlando, and your Boston, who are guaranteed playoff spots.
Right.
And but from 6, 7,
for
to 8,
grabs.
it's anybody's game. You get the Knicks, you get the Wizards, the 76ers, the Raptors.
Wildcats.
The Bucks
Pistons,
aren't even
Bucks.
in the playoffs right now.
It goes on and on. So really, the 7-8 spot are up for grab, and they realize that. The Raptors know that, and they want to prove a lot of people wrong. They do. They're playing for a lot of pride, and but at the same time, they do want to develop their young talent in Ed Davis and Amir Johnson and DeRozan and Weems and build a chemistry for the future. So I think they have a lot of positive things going for them.
Anything else you'd like to add there, Mr. Sampang?
I would like to add, go Raptors! Go Raptors! I've been watching a lot of Conan lately.
Right up your alley. That's awesome. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, 3-game winning streak, can't go wrong with that. So we focused on the positive this week, and if things go negative, we got some other stuff to talk about in the future, some little bits of comedy and whatnot. But for now, we're strictly talking about ball because the Raptors are balling.
So this week was all about the pleasure, and hopefully the pain will be, in the minimal amounts in the future. So, pretty good week for the Raptors. See what happens this week.
Keep it rolling.
So once again, for Hoop Heads North and Hip Hoop Junkies, Yui Sampang, Sean Francois, Romy Aquino, and our newest member, Ryan Dickinson, we'll see you guys all again soon. And Raptors, see what you can do this week.